All right, welcome everybody to another installment of Purveyors of Health every Thursday at this time until further notice. And today we have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Adam Simon. He's joining us from
Thank
the
you.
East Coast today. Lives out in Temecula, but he's in South Carolina today, joining us from his lobby of the hotel he's staying at. So thanks for making the time for us, Adam. Adam is a AFRESH perspective. We're going to learn a little bit more about that. And also, primitive intellect models is one of the things that he's a practitioner of and teacher of. Also, we're going to learn a little bit about transcendence through community. And yeah, thanks so much, Adam. Welcome to the program. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing amazing, full with gratitude and just loving the moment right now. And just to jump right in with a fresh perspective, that's what the intention is, to provide a fresh perspective moving forward. And I would love to speak that out over the group today. A fresh perspective means always, frequently, recalibrate, equilibrium, soulfully humble. That's the fun acronym with it. And it's to always, every moment when we become aware, to promote that a fresh perspective. So if we can always have this gratitude practice in our life, it's going to, I view it like hitting the carnival bell. You ever seen that game? You hit the hammer and it charges the thing all the way up to the top and it dings the top. So love and gratitude is the highest form of human emotion we have, or we can just call it the vibration. You just feel good when you're there, and everything starts with the mind. And so it's starting with that cause of a fresh perspective rooted in gratitude and love. So I'm feeling very grateful, and I'm loving this moment right now to be able to share with all of you and to interact. So starting off there, um, if you are, how you can use this to your benefit moving forward is, if you're a person that is interested in bringing their goals forth with more economy and more ease, or if maybe you're a person that's thinking, I wish there was an easier way to bring forth my health related, my fitness related goals, or my success related goals. To me, they're synonymous. Health and success, it's really the same thing. So at the end of the day, all we have is our health. And so to be able to focus on that, it can give us some tangible insight on maybe what we're doing in life, and if we can course correct to make sure that those health results are going to be foundational, and then everything else seems to cascade out from there. So there's that. And then just a quick background. So I went to school for exercise physiology at Humboldt State University. And so I have a clinical background in exercise physiology, worked with a program that was responsible for training and assessing the health and fitness of firefighters and law enforcement officers. And then from that assessment, we were able to give them a battery of tests and an exercise prescription to make improvements in those areas that we might find aren't reaching a proficient level. So that's the clinical background, where you can look at these tangible metrics that are result driven and say your cardiopulmonary health is 72 based on this criterion scale. And now from that, we can start to make improvements in the areas that we want to. Maybe you find that you're already very high level of success in a certain aspect of your health, and you're putting all of your effort into that area, but maybe your muscular endurance is in the 30th percentile. So maybe moving forward, we can be a little more efficient with our use of time, energy, and resources to focus on that area. So that's kind of the practical side of what I do. But after college, I started my own business. And so it's been that entrepreneurial journey of figuring out how to provide as much value as possible in the realm of what I'm passionate about, which is learning to learn using the body, and in um, just increasing the overall joy and ease and bliss and tranquility that we can experience out of life. And so from that, it was Primitive Intellect is the brand or the business that was created. And the Primitive Intellect methods are just it's a framework, tangible framework that we can look at, and it creates a system that provides feedback loops that we can now look at and put forth our energy into that, put our focus into a singular direction into these methodologies, and then to get feedback to see if we're making the improvements we want to make improvements in. So I can go into a little bit more depth of what these methods are. But if anybody has any questions right now, just to gain some more clarity, open to that. Otherwise, we can keep rolling forward.
Tell us a little bit more about primitive intellect, man. When did you start
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, primitive intellect. It always starts in the mind, and just want to overarch this idea because it was a burning obsession and a desire of mine back in college. I've been graduated since 2016, so about 5 years. But even in the early stages of going to college, having that vision, and it starts with drawing the symbol on a piece of paper. And so just to bring that up, that it's really about having this burning desire to bring forth a result or something in the world, and just being able to stick with that and to navigate the failures in life that come along, which is really your first attempt in learning to do something, but to be able to stick with that conviction to bring forth the result. So that's been the personal kind of hero's journey to bring forth primitive intellect. But it is a health organization. Really, it's just my business, and it's an extension of me. And I view that as the transcendence, and that's kind of the last topic, the transcendence through community, which is this realization that the ego starts to dissolve when you're building up your self-worth or your value based upon how you can be of value to a greater whole, the purveyors of health, a community of people all wanting to bring forth a shared vision for optimal health, well-being for the collective. And so there's an infinite number of ways to bring that forth, but in aligning to, again, a greater vision that's in service to others. So that's what primitive intellect is. I have over 20 clients right now physically. We do individual sessions, group sessions, as well as virtual sessions. So it's just been a lot of fun to be able to create these frameworks and these methodologies and drills and games to be able to track our progress and to stay in community, work together, increase accountability and adherence too. So the biggest thing is pretty much forming of habits. And so when we're able to get into a habit of proactively prioritizing our health, and we're doing it in community, that's when it becomes really fun, because we are now creating this habit. This habit becomes a lifestyle. And when we have a lifestyle that's proactively promoting our health and our vitality and our wellness, and the community builds around that, then it's almost making it you're getting integrity between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, where now you're bringing forth these results with more ease because the environment that you've co-opted and built together is going to be promoting those results of optimized health just naturally, because everybody's invested into each other doing it. So that's kind of the last piece of the puzzle. Is the how maybe doesn't matter as much. It's more so about what's our shared vision. The shared vision is increasing our value. We paint an abstract vision and reverse engineer how to. And so that's kind of the coming together and throwing the ball back and forth to the stone. And through the passing back and forth, the stone starts to get polished and more crystallized. And so it's not any one person has the know-how, but it's more so about, let's come together and first find some communal shared values that we can tease out. And that just becomes it's a lot of fun. It's like playing music. You know, it's great to maybe practice your instrument. Maybe these are the analogy for the primitive intellect methods. I can go over what those are, but you're practicing your scales and you're practicing your tonality with the instrument or whatever, your rudiments, but it's really about coming together and making music together and hearing where everybody's coming from. And it's creating that space where it could be very nourishing, very healing. And then also it just builds more upon authentic self-expression of the individuals. And then it builds into something new. You form the band or you form the orchestra. So that's the primitive intellect methods. It's just the extension and the embodied methodologies of kind of this underlying philosophy. Just a natural little pause there, but go ahead, Angelo.
No, I was going to say, if anyone out there wants to ask any questions or chime in, feel free to. This is an open forum. Adam's here to share and answer questions. So, please feel free to speak up if you have any insights or questions for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of gaining some traction there. The way that I view the development of, let's say, self-development, it's always going to be in the mind first. You have that directive or you have that desire to bring forth. And let's just say for a shared vision, our desire is to improve our health. I think that can be agreed upon, that we're all here to just improve our health. And health is joy and love and bliss and ease. And of course, there's challenge in that because that means evolution. And we're continually redefining ourselves every day by assigning or aligning with a vision for the future, as opposed to signing the contract of yesterday. So if the main desire is to improve our health, how do we go about looking at that, especially in a world where there's so much information out there? There's an unlimited source of information, and how do you digest that and then actually produce the results that you want in life? Because you can pull on any thread. So we can look at nourishment. Let's say again, health is just nourishment, or health is a state signifying healing. So that's how I conceptualize, if a person is healthy, it's just denoting that they're in a state right now of healing. And it can kind of almost be binomial there. Is it healing, or is it getting deconstructed or kind of decomposed? And so you can view that from a nutritional standpoint. Is what you just put in going to be getting the machine to build up, and it's getting you the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients you need to build at a cellular level, kind of this micro to macro? Or is what you just put in or consumed going to be harmful to the system as a whole? Not that it's going to immediately cause it to stop, but when done chronically, what's the ramifications? So we can view it as the nourishment. And then if we're going to be looking at tangibly, what are the forms of nourishment for the human body that are most important? Let's say we can go a month, maybe more. There's a medical fast where people don't eat any food for a very long time, much longer than maybe many of us have gone. And the body can still live on itself, catabolizing muscle tissue, bone, mineral density comes down, fat, and all of that. And then water, we can go maybe a week. But breath is the first and foremost form of nourishment. So we can just start to hit these check boxes. All right, let me just focus. I'm trying to get my nourishment down and my self-love. Even just breathing is an act of self-love right there. Breathing, a synonym is inspiration. So I love to focus on breathing like that. You're breathing in inspiration. And when you have that intention behind it, that with every breath, it's an infinite possibility to then exhale and have a expression that's authentic to the moment you're in right now. So that again roots into this AFRESH perspective, that if you rise in the morning and the first thing you do, even if it's rising, and that's an authentic expression. And so that's kind of the more important, is to be able to check in with yourself and have that AFRESH perspective every moment. And maybe it happens where, man, I haven't even had a deep breath today. But the more and more that frequency, you're always frequently recalibrating your equilibrium, soulfully humble. So as this starts to, the recalibration happens with a shorter frequency in between, then we start to really promote this lifestyle of mindfulness and awareness that's centered on love and gratitude. That's the AFRESH perspective. So now if that's your rooting point, everything is going with the intention of gratitude and love. Every action now is going to be sound, because you have the integrity starting from that nucleus: gratitude, love, bliss, passion, enthusiasm, joy. Just think about the highest forms of emotions, and you could use your breath as that nourishment to just use it as a diagnostics check, figure out where we're at now. And then we can say, not feeling the best, the goal is to feel better. So choose a new thought, breathe into it, emotionalize it, and breath becomes a magnifier of the emotion. You can breathe into it and charge up that emotion. So once you choose the thought that makes you feel good, we're going to be able to, again, just magnify it with our breath. And so we have our mind, our breath. That's the first form of nourishment. After that, we're going to get into the body, and we're going to be developing some of these physical attributes, which is balance. Balance is a prerequisite skill for the body, because if we go up the totem pole from there, and maybe up from there, it's strength development, power development. That if we do that without having the foundation of balance, what we're essentially doing is building unbalanced strength, unbalanced power. And we get into the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. Also with great responsibility comes great power. And I know this is a lot of the word vomit, and it's one thing to speak it, but it's really more important that we verbalize it. And this is, again, the importance of primitive intellect methods, because it gives you a framework of actual drills, games, strategies that we can do and embody. So it's not an abstraction anymore. We're able to feel it in ourselves. What does it feel like to be balanced? Stand on a balance board. What are you learning at the cellular level? And so once we develop this balance to a degree of proficiency, then we start to have kind of a nuclear language. Water, H2O, it's telling you what it is, inherent right there in the symbol. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. Now, as we develop the body in a similar way, when we have a mindset rooted in love or nourishment, self-love, self-nourishment, and then we breathe into that, and then we do it with balance, it becomes posture. The best posture you can ever have is being first postured in the mind in self-love or love for all, then that transcendence, and then breath. And then imagine you're on the balance board. So what does that do to your posture? How does that feel in every cell? And so the goal of what we do now is to look no further than our posture, because posture is already telling us all of the rungs below it. Posture is telling you about your balance. It's telling us, or it's a propaganda for our own beliefs and how our beliefs proliferate in our body. So do we have that integrity or alignment into the physical? Now, after we have a posture that's reflective of our mindset founded in success principles or self-nourishment principles, same thing, self-love principles and nourishment, then are we able to move to where we want to move to? This is all about the goal setting and goal acquisition. It's an art and a science, and there's ways that we can set up our goals that increase our likelihood to see them get produced in our reality. And so in moving forward towards our goals, I know where I'm at now with a fresh perspective. This is where I'm at. I want to go here. Now, can we move? This is the last part of the primitive intellect methods. Can we move to where we want to go without having everything else, the posture, disintegrate? And so it's almost more important to have stillness and develop this in the body. We call it stability, your ability to stay. Can you stay? Can you breathe? And can you maintain a posture of integrity while moving? And so these are all, again, intertwined into the methodology, which shows you it becomes a feedback loop or a cybernetic mechanism. Just to go deeper onto what a cybernetic mechanism is it's a thermostat as opposed to a thermometer. So you're setting the temperature point. So instead of a lot of us, it's very natural. It's easy to be reactive, and that's what a thermometer does. You're able to just say, all right, 70 degrees. You go to the grocery store, somebody cuts you off or whatever, and that 70 degrees is an emotion. So maybe somebody gives you an emotion, and I'm just going to give them that emotion right back. Whereas a thermostat, you're able to say, no, I already set my thermostat at love and gratitude for the day. And so nothing else is going to get you off of what you set the thermostat at. And so that's what a cybernetic mechanism is. A plane goes on cybernetic mechanism that takes off. And then from there, it's just doing all the little adjustments, notches, the notches on the plane wings are adjusting to get you to your destination. The pilot's not doing anything. So we could view that analogy that the pilot is our conscious awareness. And then the mechanism or the system you're creating is your subconscious mind. So it's about proactively programming the subconscious mind, which is the body, to be in alignment with the goal you're wanting to bring forth. So I'm talking very specifically, since the subconscious mind is your body, the primitive intellect methods are the framework in which you're putting the body through this diagnostics test to just assess its integrity. And so again, just talking about it is one thing. I would encourage, and I'd love for everybody to, if this is intriguing to you, how do we move with more economy? How do we have integrity between all these seemingly separate faculties of the body, the mind, breath, balance, posture, movement? How do we have a discipline, so to speak, or a movement practice that embodies these principles? That's what we're doing at Primitive Intellect. And so to be able to experience that in every cell of your body and to feel what that is. So I'd love for everybody, this is that invite to come and check out what we're doing. It's very unique, and it's about recontextualizing kind of the bare bones. It's focusing on building that foundation again, starting with a mindset, which is about self-love, and then that transcendent. When you're doing the self-love together in a community, everybody's on their own unique individual hero's journey, but there's power to be had in that, sharing that space like we're all doing right here virtually. And so you're doing this individual journey together, and you're showing up for yourself, which is inspiring to others. And it's kind of creating this tribe where it's a self-selected tribe, and you know that you're part of somebody else's tribe if you're encouraged by their act of courage. And in the same way, if somebody else is viewing you do something and they're encouraged, and the act that you're doing is courageous, you're being vulnerable, you're deciding to now align with a vision for the future, which is your goal, instead of just waking up every day and you get the iOS contract. All right, my name's Adam and I'm this years old and I do this every day. Do you sign that contract, or do you rewrite the contract? Again, back into that kind of cybernetic mechanism loop. We can go in and become the computer programmers, and then also the person playing the game, so to speak. And so what do we want to put in there as our default setting? Emotionally, is really choosing a life that we would love to live. And this is the fun part of it, and the art and the science of this goal setting. So to me, at the end of it, it's always about goal setting and being very passionate about living as if you are that, living as if the goals or the wish is already fulfilled. So what does it feel like? And that's really the biggest thing. It's, what would it feel like to lose the 30 pounds? What would it feel like to finally not be dependent upon coffee? What would it feel like to be all these different things? And whatever, if it makes you feel good, then that's the direction we start heading in. And then we don't need to know how to do it, but we just need to have our why very strong. And then the primitive intellect methods are such a simplistic, natural way to put our focus, which has direction and intensity. Direction and intensity is all we have with our focus. We can now pinpoint it on a central location to produce more intensity of that focus. If there's all these different things, should I do CrossFit? Should I do this? And all of them are very valid, but it's, these methodologies are aligned with our natural biology and physiology. And it's about getting the desired result for the least amount of effort put into it. And so we go over the secrets of strength development. And again, it's using these principles of exercise physiology to avoid the risk of overtraining, to avoid the risk of injury, because how many times, and maybe you can relate to this, you've wanted to start a fitness campaign or a health initiative. It doesn't even have to be with a physical component. that you started something, and it's that start stop fitness campaign. You started January, and then by February you've fallen off. Maybe you're so dedicated at the beginning, you're so motivated, and you're doing it 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and then it comes 3 weeks into it, for whatever reason, maybe we get the little common cold and we don't go anymore, or the knee starts to hurt a little bit, or the lower back, and so now we're taking a week off to recover before we go back into it again. And really the goal is to be able to have a lifestyle, something that we could be doing perpetually and every single day. And so again, that's what these primitive intellect methods are, just to share what a few of these are. For the mind, again, we're going mind, breath, balance, posture, movement. The mind primitive intellect method or protocol is sunrise recipe. So just by waking up and rising before the sun, that's already going to have a list of cascading benefits. Because let's say the desire is, I'd love to come to the sunrise recipe, or to be able to witness and be proactive with my day and witness the sunrise. And it has a list of questions if we're unable to do it, or maybe we're able to do it and we just force ourselves to get up, which is the development of discipline and willpower and all these higher mental faculties that are built into the program or these methods, that I find it really difficult to get up for the sunrise. Well, what time do we go to bed? Or we binging Netflix before? So these are things that we don't even have to discuss up front, but these are the questions you start to ask yourself when, again, honing the direction of your focus on these methodologies. Sunrise. For the breath, we have breathing protocols. There's no wrong way to breathe. If it feels good, it's right. Maybe focusing on breathing into the nose. And it's about playing these little games to shift your awareness. All right, let me try to close this nostril. I breathe in through this one, I breathe in through that one. Breathing in through the nose, box breath, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And just playing around with the breath as an instrument, and seeing how in moving our breath, we're moving our consciousness around. And breath is really an autonomic function of the nervous system. And so if it's something that's done automatically, it's almost could be an analogy to the subconscious mind. If you're breathing and not aware of it, how much of our life are we doing on autopilot, unaware? And so by taking that conscious control and having a breathing practice, which might be designated to the first 5 minutes of the day with the AFRESH perspective, and I'm breathing into gratitude, and I'm breathing into the things I'm grateful for the day, breathing into the intention for the day, breathing into the goals that we've set for ourselves, that even if it's just those 5 minutes, and then we completely forget about breathing for the rest of the day, as long as we have that one time slot designated to that, when we do that, it starts to become a lifestyle. And then there's never a time where we're not breathing mindfully. Or if it is, we know immediately, why am I not feeling the best? Oh, because I've been unaware of how I've been breathing. So these are why it's so basic, so simplistic, and there is a beauty to that inherent in the simplicity. And when we focus on these things kind of chronologically, it allows us to eventually make these quantum leap improvements in our life. So of course, we love the incremental improvements that happen day by day when going towards our goals. We are also open to the potential and the possibility for exponential breakthroughs towards our goals. So this is a paradigm shift that we start to adopt as well, that if it's beautiful to have the incremental, day 1, I'm here, day 2, and I'm going up, but there's no reason to say that day 4 doesn't spike up exponentially, especially when we're meeting all of these fundamental naturalistic capacities of the body. So that's for the breath, the mind, and the primitive intellect methods. Other than that, for the movement stuff to develop strength, we do 1 hang a day. So I'd encourage every single person here, if you just take this away from this entire session, do 1 hang a day, right? No pull-ups, no nothing like that. Just see, can I do 1 hang for as long as possible? Now, what this is doing is almost like a physical, it's the physical embodiment of a fast. So don't do anything. Don't pull yourself, don't swing, just hang there and breathe. Now it's going to utilize gravity for your benefit and help rectify any potential musculoskeletal and nervous system imbalances. And it's just a word. Picture's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000 pictures. Maybe somebody hangs and their ribs are up here flared out and their hypertonic muscles in the back. And this is just from my background. I'd be able to use that as an assessment and a diagnostics tool and say, all right, we're doing this inefficiently because we're tensed up all this and all this musculature. We can actually breathe. This shoulder can go up more and more and more, and you could breathe the ribs down. So hanging, that's my battle cry. Everybody just does one hang a day, and the goal is, in the primitive intellect methods, is to get to 2 minutes. So let's just say somebody's got a pull-up bar behind them in here. You run over to the pull-up bar. Let's put you on the spot. I'm just playing, but you're doing the hang, and once you can get to 2 minutes, here's the natural progression, the cybernetic mechanism that feeds back in and make sure that we're not developing certain capacities too quickly. Because if you're just going and doing the lat pull down or the row, it's easy to build muscle. It's very difficult to improve posture. And that's really the end goal, is to improve our residual posture. Tomorrow, our posture is better. We're long and strong. The muscles are fully lengthened. You have full access to them. Another just little science tidbit to throw in there. Muscles you can develop very quickly, especially when you're doing a program with consistency. But soft tissue, your tendons and ligaments, take a year to develop. So you could take that for whatever it means. Maybe it means nothing to us right now, but the tendons and the ligaments, it takes a year of consistent loading to have them adapt. Your muscles within weeks can get stronger. You can hypertrophy them. They can get bigger. You can build muscle mass. But when we focus on building our muscle first and not the tendons, you can essentially get your muscles too strong for your own body. And so when you flex it, it could pull the tendon off the bone. And I'm building my chest. And I know I'm getting into the nitty gritty with some of the stuff, but if I'm doing a lot of the movement and it's building muscle and pulling things here, I'm getting out of alignment, which is just increasing our risk of injury. And you're just not stacking things in a geometrical way to transfer force. The body's meant to transfer force, not isolate it. And so we got the hangs, it takes care of it. Promise you, just once a day. When you build up to 2 minutes, you switch to do a single arm hang. And again, you'll start to see I have so much more capacity, and your rib cage is such an adaptable part of your body. And so you're able to hang for one arm. You do this until you can hang for a minute. And then after this, which is a pretty advanced movement, the goal is to fail on your hangs between 30 seconds and a minute for the rest of your life. So just to paint the picture of, we want to bring forth our goals and increase our vitality and health and functionality of the systems of the body, cardiopulmonary, heart and lungs working together to fuel the body with oxygen, circulatory system, muscular endurance, muscular strength, flexibility in your body composition, or we can view it as weight management. These hang protocols put everything into a consolidated box for you, because even if you're only able to hang for 10 seconds, the goal is to get to 2 minutes, and then you improve from there. Maybe we have a high degree of body weight that we're not able to manage. So in the same way that I want to get up for sunrise, because I know it's a natural thing, and then if I'm getting up before the sunrise, after the sun sets, you're going to probably be pretty tired. So it makes it easier to get back into it. Your circadian rhythms get into function, your sleep hormones and all this stuff is the side effect. But we're not focusing on doing all that stuff. Just by having this these movement practices, it will rectify all of these things that maybe we're not even going to be aware of. It's just behind the surface, but it's still nonetheless going to be an improvement for our functionality. And it will make us address that from hanging from the bar. And maybe it's kind of hard to hang with 50 extra pounds. My shoulder doesn't feel the best when I'm hanging and I have 50 pounds. It maybe would be easier if that's off. So it just brings our awareness to different faculties of the body, that then causes us to reflect, ask ourselves some questions. And if the question or the desire is, I would like to have this hanging feel easier, to be more enjoyable, how could I make this more enjoyable? maybe if I focus on my breathing more instead of holding my breath, maybe if I focus on all these different things that you can put into it yourself. So it is really increasing your level of self-confidence and self-reliance to realize we don't even need anything external. You don't need to go to the class. It's a privilege and it's a great thing to be able to do if you enjoy that, to go to the cycle class, to go to the CrossFit, but to dramatically improve our functionality and our health and our joy, we really don't need these things. We can break it down to the bare bones, the minimum stuff, hanging kind of like the this primitive intelligence that we don't really need much. Other than that, if you have a tennis ball or a stone at your disposal or anything that's spherical, this is another thing, a method. And if you go to the Primitive Intellect on Instagram, you'll see a lot of examples of this with both myself and my clients on how to dramatically improve your posture. And again, the beauty of it is that the teacher becomes this inanimate object. The teacher is the stone. You put this stone on your lower back, and I encourage everybody to give this one a go too. You put a tennis ball or a stone on your lower back and you hinge over, try to touch your hands to the ground, walk out to a push-up position, go flat on your stomach like you're on a surfboard, and then build yourself back up. Just this alone might give you a year's worth of things to work on and tinker with. So, and maybe it's difficult to just imagine that. I don't have the ball, but it's worth it. You're going to be in the lobby, wherever you are. You take the object, you put it on the lower back, and maybe somebody does this, and the ball is going to be falling off. So you might have to tinker for 30 minutes to just figure out how I could find this position here. After this, either the feet step back, or if I'm here, I'd walk the hands out, flat, build it back up, grab the ball, come up tall. So hanging from a bar, if I poof into a pile of dust tonight and I could just impart any wisdom to humankind, it'd be put a stone, put a tennis ball on your back. It will take care and rectify all muscular imbalances, improve your posture, your integrity of how to coordinate. It increases your mind-body connection and awareness, because especially the tennis ball rolling all over the back. So those ones right there, that's a good method. Ball on the back hinge. We got the hang. One arm push-ups is another good one. And anybody can do these. Single arm push-ups. You don't do any more than 3 per day for the rest of your life. Just 3. Because you're building strength, which is a function of your nervous system. It's not about fatiguing your muscles. Not about fatiguing your muscles. It's about developing more electrical impulse through the nervous system, coordinated into the body. So this is just the exercise physiology part of it. Strength is a function of the nervous system. And so when you do 1 to 3 reps, and the 3rd rep, or maybe even the 1st or 2nd, you're failing. You can't do any more than 3. So the single arm push-up's a great place to start, and we all can do it. Even if we have a high degree of, maybe we have a lot of excess body weight on us, we can still adapt the leverage. So maybe I'm going to be putting my arm against the wall right in front of me, and I'm lowering myself. I don't even have to show the demonstration. Your body's naturally going to figure out the path of least resistance, how to spiral the force in your own body, which is, we go to the gym and we move like a robot. Your body's going to become robotic and calcified. That's not how we move. And so when you learn how to transfer force across multiple joints, different angles, and be able to excavate out, it's really beneficial for us just moving in that natural way. So using the wall, and then just imagine, here's the wall, and I'm lowering myself, pushing away, and then it becomes the edge of the table, and then it becomes the chair, or 2 steps up on my stairs, and my feet are at the bottom of the stairs, until you're doing a single arm push-up on the ground, no more than 3. And if you can do that right now, then you put your feet up on a chair. or now you're putting your feet up on two stairs, up your stairs, and your hands on the bottom of the floor. And you do this. So no longer do we need to waste excess energy and time to do the 3 sets of whatever. It's just more so about the quality of the movement. Back to, again, the tennis ball on the back can be incorporated in all these things. It shows that you have stability and control, intra-abdominal pressure to brace at the core, even more importantly, the pelvis. And so you can incorporate some of these things into your movement practices, even if you're doing a yoga flow. Can I do it with the tennis ball on my back? Can I do the crab walk with the tennis ball on my back? Can I do this? So these are just fun things. And especially there's something about humans that we love playing with the ball of yarn or the ball, or just playing catch. So it just makes it fun. And it becomes, if anyone's seen Castaway, Wilson, we start to have really good friends that are inanimate objects. So about building community again. And if your community can be people like this, purveyors of health, and then also you have some inanimate object friends that are helping you bring forth your goal, it's a beautiful life to live right there. I could just continue to rant on all this stuff, as I'm sure everybody gets the point by now. I hope that it provided some value. I'm very passionate about this, and we'll continue to do it, and would love to be connected with everybody here. But if you have more questions on how can I utilize these methods, or what was the thing you were saying about the tennis ball, feel free to reach out directly. Maybe I could drop my thing in here. The handle for Instagram is the primitive intellect. That's the handle. And yeah, a lot of great stuff moving forward. And I'd love to hear more about what everybody here is doing. I know that a lot of those out there are doing the Purium products and superfood nutrition. I'm not currently doing that, but I do Raw Revelation, which is a very similar thing. But I'm interested in learning about that too. So maybe the exchange, people can put me on game with that too. And I would just love to continue to share and then hear about what all of you are working with and passionate about.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Adam. Really appreciate all that knowledge. And it's so intuitive to know these things and to not enact upon them. I think for myself, maybe it's a little bit of the ego, the ego of like how much you bench, how many push-ups can you do, instead of just being healthy. Like we don't need to run ourselves ragged. And for so long, I thought I had to do all of these things. And I injured my tendon in my arm from trying to do push-ups. My muscles were strong, but my tendons were weak. And yeah, I love the Raw Revelations too, man. I've got a lot of their stuff here too. So good.
Definitely.
Product. Yeah, that's great stuff. Veronica turned me up to them in Riverside.
Oh yeah, big time. Has anybody, just a question before everyone goes their separate ways, is anything resonate with you? I hope that some of this stuff does. Again, it's just so basic, and everybody has their own lens to approach it, and we all have our own body. We're the experts of our own body. Are there any things that maybe didn't connect or resonate? And I'd love to be able to maybe address some of those things, not to have a point to make, but just want to make sure that the discussion came out clearly, especially more about the applicable part of it. So some of these movement practices.
Was awesome. I have maybe a question about the balance aspect of what you were talking about. I've built my brand around balancing, and it's been a pursuit of mine to find balance in all areas of my life, whether physical, emotional, spiritual, everything. Until recently, I've come across the idea that balance equals perfection. You have this equal weight on both sides, or between a myriad of different things that you're interested in, things in your life. And if balance equals perfection and perfection doesn't exist, there's nothing in nature is perfect, then it's the pursuit of balance. I don't know, like
I love
or something.
No, I love that. No, I would my 2 cents on that, and I love that. And I see obviously your name, Bex Balances. Balance really is my favorite, because to me it's the prerequisite skill. And most of the focus is on skill acquisition, but also how to remain still and chill in one position and breathe. So that's just the little poetic version of it. Most of the focus is on skill acquisition and how to remain still and chill in one position. So it's the continual development of skills, and really you get more skills to increase our confidence, to move the way we want to move, and to produce the results that we want subjectively in our life. And with the balancing aspect of it, I resonate with that highly on balancing all different things, myriad of relationship to my physical practice or the tangible balance. So I feel like the best thing is, since we have access to the multiple planes, we could call it spiritual or psychic, or just, I like to leave it as goals. That's very spiritual. It's something that's not in existence now, and it takes faith to every single day do something with persistency and consistency to then step into where that goal is something is your reality now as you move towards it. So there's the psychic, spiritual, all that. Then there's the mental, emotional, then there's the physical. And so if we want to be balanced in those higher mental faculties or up there, then it would make sense that if you're a person with integrity, that you can say less and do more. Let me see you balance on this board. Let me see the balance. And it's not a competition in any way, but just, are you a walking embodiment of your own personal philosophy? It's one thing to just talk about the philosophy, but then to just, people know exactly how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're balancing like that, it's like that person's balancing, just to even set aside time to practice this thing. They must have a very balanced life. And I don't think it's a meaningless pursuit, because balancing is a paradox where you're on the middle of the fulcrum. I wish I had the more things to do the demonstration, but we've seen the endo board where it has a little cylinder in the board, you're balancing on it. So if I step too far one way, it's going off balance. And so I have to do the counter, pressing back this way. And then it becomes, maybe somebody's on it, whoa, all this type of balancing. And then over time, there's more control where that frequency, it's all electrical, and you could see the electricity flowing, where instead of an overcorrection, it just becomes and then you're vibrating at a very high rate, your nervous system, to make these micro adjustments with each foot. And so why we balance is because we can, and because it feels good to be up at the top with poise and posture, as opposed to with our feet over our head, falling on our ass in life. It feels better to be standing with confidence and poise and be able to hold a conversation or to give out love. It's hard to give out love, even to yourself or to those around you, when you're constantly having your feet fly over your ass, falling on your head. So that's the goal, to balance. That's why we balance. And it's in the same way, health. Are you healthy? It just is a state, and it's an endless spectrum. It's the state of healing. So you're never balanced. You're balancing, which shows that you're a human being doing. We're constantly doing. And that's just to tie it full circle. The primitive intellect methods was birthed from that, just a tangible physical embodiment of these abstract concepts relating to health. What does it mean to balance? Oh, well, we came up with these 10 really beautiful games that we could just play here. And we use play as a metric to view how true our perception of reality is. So it's no indicator of your value or worth as a person if you go through these games or drills and maybe you're failing. That's the goal. But if the goal is, all right, let's see if we can balance on this board, but then we're falling down with the right foot. Maybe when you're doing it in community, or if it's just yourself looking at the mirror, so to speak, you might realize, I keep failing the same way. And then maybe it's, let me see if I can fail now this time and touch my left foot down until we find this equilibrium. And the equilibrium is always changing. And it's a human nature thing where we want to elevate and test ourselves more it's just like we're tickling our confidence meter. So it's like, all right, now I want to balance on one foot on the board and throw me the ball. At least that's how I feel is a very human way to just constantly be striving another mountain. And it's not out of, you're always grateful. And that's just our natural inclination, is for the incline. Our natural inclination is for the incline, and we don't stay content. I think contentment is on the emotional. There's the spiritual, then the mental, emotional. Contentment is an emotion that I think is like neutral, about zero. It's not bad, it's not good, but content. And then this new paradigm that we're promoting is that contentment is the new base. So if you're ever finding yourself content, it's time to put your pen to paper and find some more goals. Can I balance more? Can I maybe try to find balance and explore my music now? And does that deviate and make this other aspect of my life, my relationship, start to suffer, all these things? And then it's back to the balancing act. But if we're content, then it's time to set some goals and then to stretch those capabilities and capacities, all while can we move while remaining in a good posture. So that was kind of the thing again: mind, breath, balance, posture, movement. So if goals are movement, I'm moving towards something. Does moving towards your goal diminish your posture? Does it diminish your balance in life? Does moving towards your goal diminish your ability to breathe into these higher nourishing emotions? Or does it fuck with your mindset of inner peace? If moving towards those things causes any breakdown of the lower ones on the ladder rung, then maybe we need to first address those things before even setting that new goal. So thank you for that question.
All right, that's great. Does anyone else have any questions for Adam before we wrap up the hour?
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you, Adam. I'm a product of your primitive intellect training, and I'm so glad that I don't have to run all those circuits in the gym anymore. Just use my body weight and use play, like as you taught, play is movement. And so I'm grateful for that. And thank you for sharing with us all this valuable information.
I'm grateful for you, Veronica, always. Veronica's, as all of you know, just a walking angel. So we're lucky to be able to have you in our life. So thank you so much. And to everybody else too, thank you for, it means so much, even if we're not interacting back and forth verbally, just to see everybody's face on here. And so thank you specifically, Mark, Veronica, John, Tupo, Peter, Angelo, Bex, Mallory, everybody, thank you for being on here and providing the space.
You're welcome.
And just looking forward to continuing to interact and seeing all the great stuff that you're all doing too.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for being so thoughtful and thorough and intentional with everything that you spoke on today. I was like gripping onto every word. I'm going to have to watch the replay. That was beautiful. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Thank you, Adam. This is Aster. Thank you. Very cool stuff, man.
Thank you.
Thank
Looking
you,
forward to
Adam.
playing. Looking forward to playing with everybody soon. So let's get a park date one of these days moving forward.
All right, book it, man. We'll book it.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head down to the park right down the street from me and start hanging. I got
Hanging.
I'm gonna start using it.
So just so everybody know, 2 minutes is the goal. 2 arms, 2 minutes. Once you get there, or then we'll talk some more. 2 minutes might be some work for us just to even get there, and rightfully so. It's difficult. Hanging our own stuff, managing what we got on us. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Adam, for sharing and being on here. Pretty much everything you said to me, and so I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you and expanding more. So thank you, man. Thank you for your time.
Please do. Thank you, Tubo. Anybody seen Ricky Bobby at this point? Like, what do I do with my hands?
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake, baby.
Hey.
We're all doing the slingshot for each other right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully that reference caught on. If not, everybody, that's another protocol. Go see Ricky Bobby tonight Talladega Nights.
I love that
All right.
movie. I saw it in the theater. All right, y'all, hang in there, literally, and
Yeah. Oh
stay
man.
balanced.
Right on. Have a great day.
All right,
Good
y'all.
Yeah.
Safe travels, dude, back home.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, see y'all next time.
Bye bye.